too. It's still July 13th, 6:06 a.m. It's my ex, my boss again. So weird. She's on her own. She's on her own too. There's this. I'm late. I knew she was on her own. But so was I. But we were like sleeping on the streets. We were sleeping. It was a park. Almost like we were homeless, but we weren't. We were just without a physical home or something. But it was like, but we were good. Like we were doing our own thing. And I remember seeing her at a distance, but I didn't approach her because I'm just doing my thing too. But she sees me. And there's almost this feeling like I'm trying to assess if I could trust her. I'm trying to assess if I could trust her. And then she's like leaving me clues. She's leaving me clues. I didn't know that they were for me. But then she makes it known, and then now it's her and her husband. And they're having to explain the gadgets. They're having to explain the tools. They're having to explain the tools to me, and I'm asking her, well, can you write it down for me? 'Cause, I forget. So I'm like, can you write it down for me? Because that's how I'll be able to remember. And they were hesitant to do that for tracking purposes. So I'm doing my best to take my own notes as they're teaching me. They're teaching me what each tool is, how to use it. So there's almost this feeling like she's gaining my trust. So she's leaving. And that's where I want to tell her about the dream. I'm trying to tell her about the dream that I just had about her, to see if maybe I could help her. Because, I have this awareness that sometimes I have dreams about other people and their messages for them, right? So I'm hesitant. I'm waiting until the last minute. Before I tell her. And it's almost like it's too late. Sorry, why her though? What is it about her? She's leaving me clues. And I reach out to her. Sorry, I'm trying to find the connection between that scene and the next one. So, to finish off the first one, her and her husband leave. Or partner. I'm assuming it's just the husband. Well, I've met her in one of the groups. Because we're all working from home. She briefly, like we didn't meet actually. He was just taking care of the little. They have a little while she was working. So she's walking away into this auditorium, where people are waiting for her. And I finally get the courage, because there's trust now. There's like, there wasn't a lot of trust before. Like, I was, oh my god. Why am I saying it this way? There was a feeling of I couldn't trust her. I couldn't trust her. Until like the last minute. There was this feeling like the last minute, realizing I could trust her. So I was trying to track her down before she left. Like right behind her, like I'm right behind her. And I call out her name. I call out her name. And to get her attention, and she's looking at me. But she's already like kind of consumed by where her attention is going in the auditorium. There's so many people asking, calling for her attention. And I'm trying to yell out that I had a dream of her. But there's almost this feeling of being too late. That I didn't get a chance to tell her. I'll explain why I'm tripping out. The second dream, he's back. This person from my past. I dreamt about it the last time I dreamt about him. He was watching me. I think that was the last time. And the realization there's no emotional connection towards him. He felt like a stranger just watching me. And in this dream, this second part, I'm walking down the street. I'm invited to a party. We have a mutual connection again. And I'm invited to this party, this gathering. And the moment I step into the gathering, there's almost this knowing, that familiarity of like, it's just a familiarity, even though I don't really know the people. There's a familiarity. And we're celebrating someone, poetry, collage, poetry. But it was a mixture, a celebration. I don't know who this person is. But that's, I don't know if that's the mutual connection. It feels like it is because we're celebrating her. And she has, I didn't notice she had that on display. She had that on display. And that's what calls me back to her. It's just this weird familiarity into this home. It's someone's home, a party at a home. And there's this knowing. I'm like, that there's a connection to him. There's a connection to him in with this mutual person. And there's a little bit of anxiety, but not a lot. more of a nervousness of like, am I gonna see him? That I even there was a little bit of anxiety. I just not anxiety, like it didn't feel intense. It was like a mixture of like shock. There's a feeling of shock. Uh, if I'm gonna run into him, and I think I feel his sister. I feel like his sister's there. I don't remember the feeling as strongly, but I remember the poetry, the book, and I'm wanting to get into it, like to read her poetry, to celebrate her. Not the sister, this mutual friend. And I can't tell if he does show up. The feeling was this, we keep missing each other feeling. Like he was there, but he left and he was coming back. But then I didn't know if I was gonna stay there. Like there was this feeling of like, I'm not gonna wait. Feeling like I can't. Because there's a scene where I'm leaving. Feeling. And this knowing that we're just gonna keep missing each other. But there's this, I'm confused because it's just, there's two versions of that. That's why I'm confused. There's two versions of that. In one version, we're missing each other. Like missing, not like longing, missing, but like we just miss each other. Like this feeling of missing each other. Like not really at the same place at the same time. That's the thing. So we happen to miss each other. Like, yeah, like yeah, that's what it feels like. But then there's another version. It's lighter though. It's and in the other version, I see him. We see each other. That's why I felt weird. There's another version. And we run into each other. Twice. In the house. And as I'm leaving, he is like outside on the street too. The feeling is a stranger. Like we're just strangers. So I don't have that same. It just doesn't feel like the other dreams anymore. Like you know it. Like I can't feel him. Like in the other dreams. More of this just awareness. It just feels like we're strangers, that's all. And there's this, that's all. Like, I don't know what happens next. That's a while. I mean, I didn't. My sister-in-law asked me about him. She reached out yesterday, and I was busy. And before I went to bed, not before I went to bed, like I had responded to her. I had taken a nap too. But she asked me about him. If I had moved on, if I had felt I had moved on. And, oh, because she asked me about what happened with this other fire sign. I said, no, just friends. Just friends. I said we were both definitely more balanced, but still emotionally reactive, and we triggered each other. And so we would just stay friends, but he's traveling right now, and if he comes back, it may not be until September. And so I'm just doing my thing, right? And that's when she asked me if I had gone over this person from my past, if I had moved on. And I said, I've had dreams about him. The last dream, where the emotional connection is not the same. He feels like a stranger, but because he always was, right? And I explained to her that I had needed to fall in love because that was something I had never done before, and to balance myself out, right? I needed to fall. I needed that experience, right, to clear the path. And what I told her, I mean, what I'm assuming that's what it's for, right? Just balance myself completely emotionally. So I told her. And I just said, I'm just, grateful. And that even though this recent fire sign clearly wasn't the one, right? But I was triggered too. So I'm like, but it feels closer, was what I said to her. Like, text her, I said, I'm getting closer in terms of, the extreme. Well, in my particular case, it started off being extremes, but then it was more of this leveling up with each experience, right? And balancing. It's both ways. That's why balance it out, but also level it's both. But that was weird. I didn't expect to dream about him again. But just the two, like the repeated scene. So now I'm wondering, okay, what does that mean, right? Is that the repeated scenes that I've had in the past are pathways? This is one potential path, right? This is another potential path. So I guess one path is we keep missing each other, and then the other one, we run into each other. I guess. I do remember that in the one where he's not there, his sister is, or there's some female, I don't know if it's his sister now anymore. Like the other dream, like I remember the other dreams where I knew, like, that's his sister. I could feel her. I can't tell anymore. Like it just doesn't feel as strong. So I just know that it's a female connection. So it's either a cousin or a sister. But somehow she knows about me. So I've only met his sister. So it has to be a sister, yes. But I'm being questioned. I'm being questioned. What did they ask? I don't remember what they asked. But there was it's like they were curious. They were curious. They were just curious. So they had questions. But the first scene, I was trying to find the connection to the first scene. Why? I would dream of her. I don't know her well enough. My ex-boss. I mean, I felt closer to her because she was the one that I would attend the weekly meetings with. And now she's not there anymore. And I don't go to the meetings as often, but I'm trying. I mean, I feel like we clicked, but I don't know what her sign. I'm trying to think, like, what was her sign, but I don't even know her birthday. To see if, sometimes the people that show up in your dreams, they have a certain energy about them, birthday related, and so then it's, like the one about J-Lo, right, where she was like a Leo. I didn't know she was a Leo until later on. So I'm trying to find the connection with this, aside from knowing that she's an administrator, like very powerful, like up and up, like she's up there, and it felt like what the reason why I got caught off guard in the beginning was because the story seemed the opposite. That's why. She was leaving me clues, and she was leaving me clues behind, and it's like I knew, but I didn't listen until she actually approached me and said, "We've been leaving you these clues. We've been leaving you these clues." Her and her husband, that's the thing, it's like her and her husband, because they were both leaving me clues. And there was like gadgets and stuff in this particular place where they were leaving clues. But they had to be more direct about it, was the feeling. Like there was this almost like I knew that that's what they were doing, but there was this feeling of I don't trust it. Until the very end, till they were more direct. And then I'm wanting to tell her the dream that I had of her, that I just had of her, as a thank you for these tools, these gadgets, these tips. But then I'm a little too late. And she walks into the auditorium and there's so many people in there that are asking for her attention. So the only connection I can think of is that her husband and her, it's the feminine and the masculine within her. She's an administrator. She's becoming what I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be the CEO. I'm supposed to be the CEO. And she's moving up in work. That's why she left. But the leaving of the puzzle pieces. That's what I'm doing. That's that's what I'm doing for him. If it needs to be clarified, I guess. What I'm doing. If he's confused. If he's confused. Trust his intuition. And all of this is clues. They're clues for you. They're clues for him to follow, to use the tools, to use the resources, to go through the process of healing, connecting to your source. That's the only connection I can make, because the feelings, even the not trusting, like the inclination, like the intuition is there to follow the path, and that this awareness of these tools are for me, but I don't trust it completely. I don't know how I knew it from the beginning. When I first met him, he struggled with trust. He struggled with trust. He struggled with trust. I don't know how I knew that he struggled with that. Trusting the unknown. Also, the feeling that I got with my boss as she's walking away, like she's like, I need to keep moving on. And the last minute, let me tell you my dream about you. And there was almost this feeling of being too late. Because she goes into the auditorium and everyone is calling for her. She's busy doing her thing. That's the only thing I could think of. I could totally be wrong. The first night he spent in my apartment, I had, I don't know if I mentioned, these sites, there's two. One says passion, and the other one says trust. There were 7 to start. I bought those in San Francisco. Long time ago. But those were the only 2 that I decided to keep. Passion and trust. Because there was this inner knowing that these were things that I needed to work on. Like opposites almost. Passion in life. But difficulty trusting it. I had issues with trust back then. And I remember when he spent the night, I looked up at the signs, and there was just the snow, and I saw the word trust, and I'm like, he has a hard time trusting. And then me realizing that I was embracing more of the passion at the time. Life passion. Trust the unknown. Trust the process. I didn't expect to dream him again. But there it is. So if you're needing clarification, yes. I don't know why. But these tips are for you. At least the ones that make sense. They're for everybody, really, who's ever wanting to listen. So, I guess I'll just end it there. 6:36. name is Yubi, and in case you haven't figured it out, this footage is capturing my experience as I learn to navigate my personal spiritual awakening. I am learning that this experience is unique to each one of us. In whatever way we believe we are embracing living our truth, this just happens to be my journey. And despite me having a graduate degree and a license in clinical social work, this by no means is intended to replace any type of mental health advice. This is just me on a personal level, documenting my experience, shedding light on the truth that I am learning and discovering for myself, and really inviting you along for the ride. If by some magical chance you find this content to be helpful in any way, shape, or form, please click the like button, share the message, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have an Instagram account, a personal one, and one specifically for this channel that you're more than welcome to check out. I'm an open book. I have also created t-shirt designs. I'm wearing my favorite one right now, which is the North Node design, but I have that and other things that you can look at inspired by this process and journey, and I have the link in the description box as well as in the about section of my YouTube channel. So you're more than welcome to check those items out. Any type of support is great. Again, if you find this content really helpful or meaningful, sometimes when we take that step and be vulnerable, with showing what's inside our hearts and what's really our truth, we realize that we're much more connected than what we thought we were. And so I hope that as I'm living this experience and that you find some type of truth for yourself, or find some type of ability to heal in some way just by relating, just by knowing that you're not alone. That really has been my goal with this process, not just being able to connect with others, but really for my own healing. It's definitely been a therapeutic experience and a very creative one for myself. So I thank you, and I wish you all the best, and we'll see what else comes next for me.